Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The clip that I want to show you is little press conference meeting, whatever you want to call this, in this day and age, with the way these reporters cater and codify these Democratic mayors and governors and stuff like that. This involves Brandon Johnson from Chicago. You know, it's funny. I'm always amazed on how these mayors, these governors, these mayors, these Democrat politicians like to spin things around and not, just basically, put their heads down and just say, you know what, we messed up. We're going to try to fix it. We're caught red-handed. You got us. They don't. They just keep spewing out the same nonsense. Is everybody else's fault but our own? Is everybody else's fault but our own? Even though we're the ones that want all these, changes and all this chaos to enter our cities and our neighborhoods. But we ain't got nothing to do with it. This all has to do with, evil people on the right. This all has to do with, the president that was here nearly 4 years ago. It has nothing to do with us. Nothing at all. So you know what? I just say, let them, let them keep exposing themselves. We'll just keep pushing what they say and showing everybody, how condescending and their contradictions are. But before I continue, just want to thank all my new subscribers and all my subscribers here on YouTube and on Rumble. Thank you so much. The channel's growing little by little every day. I like that. So keep passing it around. Tell your family and friends. Let's get this channel up and going, over 500 subscribers and more. Okay, I'm almost there. And keep this movement going. And we got to keep pushing these issues. A lot of people may think that they're getting old, but in reality they're not. They seem to be getting worse and worse every day, as I'll show you in the next couple of clips. But also, if you want to help to support the channel, I'll leave a link in my description to my Cash App and PayPal. And don't forget to visit the merchandise store. Like I said, I only have one design so far, but almost finished up on the other design, so I could get the other shirts out also. So without further ado, here's a Q&A with Chicago's good old mayor Brandon Johnson and what he has to say about the influx of all the illegal immigrants. Here we go.
You have a local government, the city of Chicago, subsidizing the infrastructure of a crisis that's being caused by a governor in another state. I'm frustrated as well. Over 600 buses have arrived in the city of Chicago since I've been mayor. We didn't call for those buses, and the governor of Texas...
Okay, let me just stop it right there. It's only 24 seconds. He is such a damn hypocrite. He says since he became, the mayor of Chicago, over 600 buses came. They didn't ask for those buses. I believe it was him and his party, the same way it was Eric Adams and their party, that said that Chicago and New York were sanctuary cities. I believe they were the ones that said that first, because they thought by keeping the borders open and letting, I don't know, what are we up to now, 6, 7, 8 million illegals into the country, that they thought that that Texas and Arizona were going to absorb all those people? Or is that what they were actually banking for? But since Governor Abbott said, no, you made the recipe for this cake, so now here it is, you can have the whole thing and you can eat it, they don't like how it tastes. It's called, there's a term for that. I think it's called eating crow. Okay, but let's continue.
Sending buses to the city of Chicago to create chaos in this country. He's only sending those buses to democratically ran cities. It's an intentional attack against the country. He is attacking democratically ran cities, and particularly cities that are being led by black leaders or leaders of color.
Oh, really? Is that just by leaders of color, black? I don't know. Is the governor or mayor of Colorado black or white? I'm just curious about that. let me see, his governor is white, right? Italian, I think, or something like that. The governor to New York is what? White, right? Kathy Holcomb. Colorado. The governor of California is, what's his name? Newsom. He's white, I believe, right? So, do you see how they try to spin this, people? Right away, he's got to pull the damn race card. Okay? But yet, his constituents, okay, who are predominantly American black people that voted for him, have been telling him from the beginning that they're unhappy because of the way they're being treated over migrants. But right away, he wants to spin this around. And now he wants to make this a racial thing. But he was the one that said that Chicago is a sanctuary city. And he's spending billions of dollars while also putting a lot of migrants in danger and spending that money on migrants instead of what his constituents want. But let's continue.
This is unconscionable.
We've seen police stations saturated, volunteers stretched thin. With all of that said, will Chicago continue to be a welcoming sanctuary city?
Yes. Look, during difficult times, sometimes there are individuals who feel the pressure, and sometimes our values are called into question.
Okay, you mean sometimes there's people that feel the pressure? Do you mean like your constituents that are feeling the pressure and they basically given up on him? We already know this. There's no more compromise. They're like, when we were feeling the pressure, we asked you, please go talk to your boy in the White House, but you didn't, so you just left it all on us. While the whole time still trying to blame this on one guy in another state, when the person you should be blaming, since he wants to pull the race card, people, the white guy in the White House, but no, he can't do that. He'd rather blame it on the white guy in Texas, saying that he's putting the pressure, okay, and sending all the migrants to places where, the mayors and governors are of color. But I just pointed out that it's 50-50. It's black and white. But like I said in my, my description, he's delusional. But let's continue.
City of Chicago.
Mayor Johnson, the black aldermen, the black alderwomen in this city, you will stand for the black citizens of Chicago.
We're saying America must take care of America first.
Well, what does that say, people? What does that say right there? Illinois for Trump. Ooh, watch it. Watch it, Democrat Party. That red wave that you stole and that you bragged about that, people on the right didn't get. You might be getting a red tsunami now. But let's continue.
We're saying that if you're going to have an office, then you're going to have an office for Americans first, and especially office for black Americans who descended from slavery and were never made whole. We will not stand idly by while you bring in a new group to replace us. We watched it happen in California. Minneapolis, Minnesota, you have a Somali community who now, where refugees who came to this country are now controlling the business districts. We call on President Trump to come to Chicago. Walk these communities with us. Oppose this mass immigration that is killing our communities, killing Americans all across this city and all across this country.
What will the city of Chicago do to pay for?
Did you hear that, people? You heard it. I mean, when he mentioned Minneapolis, Minnesota, it's the truth. And listen, if anybody knows me, I am not a racist on my channel at all. I'm not a racist, period. Not behind closed doors, nothing. I am not a racist, period. I love everybody. I always say life is precious. But when you have people in the black community feeling as if they're being pushed out, as if they're being replaced, okay, after giving you their votes and all they ever asked for, okay, was to make the neighborhoods safer, bring in better jobs, just build up the community. And you let them, okay, just fall apart. and they're still asking you, do something, help us. But then you go and you give it to somebody else. How do you think they're going to feel? How do you think they're going to feel? But this is what the Democrats that are in power do. They take from one, give to the other one, push them to the side. They just recycle people and recycle votes. That's all they do. They don't care by hook or by crook who it is. They just want to stay in power. But then they'll still go and point the finger to somebody else. Nobody is blaming. A lot of these voters, they stopped blaming Abbott a long time ago because they realized, you know what? All Abbott is trying to do is protect Texas and America. But people like Brandon Johnson, Eric Adams, Kathy Hochul, Gavin Newsom, and the list goes on and on. All they want to do is worry about the vote, and they don't care who gets hurt in between that. But let's continue.
Or this.
Now, there are other cities that have looked at making budget cuts. We haven't gotten to that point.
Will you be taxing, adding a tax to help pay for this?
Well, I think people are clearly familiar with what my vision is for revenue in this city. 70,000 people who are unhoused in this city are black families. And that's why I invested $250 million in my budget to do just that.
But will you add a tax to help pay for the migrant crisis?
Here's what I've said repeatedly.
The answer is yes. That's all they do. It's like Kathy Hochul. She's added so many new taxes to New York, okay? Where Eric Adams has cut budget spending on certain other things. And to do what? To cater to the migrants. Okay? When what they need to do is save all that money that was saved, okay? Spend it on the American taxpayer first. Go to the White House en masse, in a group, and say, you know what, Biden? We need you to shut that border down. But they won't do that because they don't care. That's just the bottom line. They'll lie and they'll pander to you and say this and say that and take your money, and then they'll say we have no money to build up the schools. We have no money, to give to the poor communities. But you know what? Since you guys are getting fed up, and our course has run, our time has run its course, and we see that you guys are, you might start moving to the other side. Oh, we got some money now. We're going to help these people when they come in. But it's also going to still be at a cost before you leave and switch parties. We're going to raise taxes on you to help the new ones when they come in. But let's continue.
This is an international crisis.
And we've heard you say that.
Okay, so then you know the answer then.
Well, no, because the answer I asked is, are you adding a tax?
The answer is the federal government has to do its job.
What if they don't?
The federal government has to do its job. I'm telling you, this is getting so sickening, people. So damn sickening. The way these people keep, just spewing these lies, the hate, okay, the delusion, the way they keep pushing their agenda, making it seem as if people are stupid. He is caught bold-faced, and he just can't stop. I'm telling you, these people are psychotic. They can't admit to their faults. They cannot stop. It's as if they're being... if you didn't know any better, you would think somebody was standing behind him with a gun to his head, telling him what to say. Like literally, if somebody was just standing there with a gun to his head saying, you better say this. That's the way they act. Okay? And that's just on this front with Chicago. All right? Let's see what the White House press secretary has to say when it comes to pointing the finger to other people and not wanting to take blame. Once again, okay, for some migrants that sadly lost their lives. Here we go.
Why are you repeating this false claim that Republicans voted to reduce the number of Border Patrol agents, even though the Washington Post gave the administration 3 Pinocchios for that?
So we don't believe it's a false claim. Our statements were very direct here. Last year, House GOP voted, and not only did they vote for it, but they touted. They touted their Limit, Save, Grow Act. That's the act.
Well, and they vowed that it would never affect Border Patrol.
they voted for and touted it, right? This is an act. And this would have forced the elimination of 2,000 Border Patrol agents. That's what this act that they touted, that they voted for in the House. So that was their proposal, and that was what they voted for back in May.
They clearly stated at that time that Border Patrol, also veterans benefits and entitlements would never be impacted by any of the reductions. And also the bill never had any appropriations in it. So this claim that you guys are rolling out, you know, it's the White House applying White House math to a bill that never had any appropriations. And moreover, the administration or the members in Congress who, you know, put this together vowed that it wouldn't affect these things. So the reason I ask is because it's just, you know, to voters, don't you think they know the difference between, you know, what is a truthful statement and what is spin? And is it insulting to them at all to keep saying it when it's just not true?
One thing that the president does not do is insult voters or American people, to be more exact, because I want to be careful about this, what I can say about this upcoming election. What I will say is, if you look at the bill, this act that they touted, that they voted for, House Republicans back in May, it was very clear that it would have forced the elimination of 2,000 Border Patrol agents. That's what that act would have done. We were very direct about that. We were very clear about that. This is what they touted. This is what they put out there. This is what House Republicans voted for. I mean, that's where they are. They have gotten in the way every time we are trying to deal with the border. House Republicans have gotten in the way. So we appreciate the bipartisan conversation that we're having with Republicans, let's not forget, with Republicans in the Senate, that's why it's bipartisan, and Democrats, on dealing with the border. House Republicans get in the way. They wanted to literally eliminate 2,000 Border Patrol agents in this particular act that they touted, that they voted for back in May.
Notwithstanding all of the fact checks on that, if you're saying that, you know, the White House, the president doesn't want to, you know, insult the American people, will the administration then amend its separate statement that implied that Texas officials were responsible for the deaths of 3 migrants when, in fact, they had nothing to do with it? They had already been dead for an hour by the time Mexico told anyone in the U.S. about it, and the administration admitted as much in their court filing. They acknowledged that in their court filing, but the statement from the White House implies that Texas was responsible, and a number of outlets were forced to issue corrections and editor's notes because of that White House statement. So will the White House amend that statement?
So let's be sensitive here. 3 people died. 3 migrants died. 2 children and a woman. That was devastating. Devastating situation, heartbreaking situation. So let's be really mindful of what we're talking about here. I want to take a step back and just as you're talking about our statement, look, as I mentioned, a woman and 2 children died. They drowned near Eagle Pass, which is, as I said, devastating, and that Texas officials blocked Border Patrol from accessing the area. That's what was happening at that time. Our statement is consistent with DOJ's filing. As the DOJ filing said, there was an ongoing emergency situation that Border Patrol was blocked from accessing. There were other migrants in the water as well. But I'm just saying there was an ongoing.
The White House statement the White House statement says that Texas officials blocked U.S. Border Patrol from attempting to provide emergency assistance.
There were other migrants in the water.
Then why wasn't that in?
Okay, I'm just gonna stop it there. It's almost done anyway. But you people heard all that, okay? She's asked straight up questions in the beginning. This woman lies. All right, saying that Biden would never insult anybody, that it's the Republicans that are stopping progress. Okay, when all the proof is pointing right at them from beginning to end. Okay, but they just can't stop lying and contradicting themselves. Now, I don't know if anybody's heard a couple of days ago, I believe it was, when 3 people did drown. Okay, a woman and 2 children trying to pass. But it was on the Mexico side. Okay, where the Mexican authorities were able to recover their bodies. But Biden and the White House and everybody else and the Department of Justice, they want to spin this shit around and blame those 3 deaths of those 3 poor people on Americans. Do you see how sick, demented, I mean, they're just demonic and wicked with their ways, with their tongue. You know, sometimes I use the term that they have a split tongue like a snake. No, their tongue has gone beyond split like a snake. Okay? That's why we said that, I say it a lot of times, these people in power, they are a den of vipers, man. A den of vipers. And they will point the finger at, and they keep doing it, at Trump, Trump supporters, Republicans, conservatives, anybody that does not agree with them, anybody that doesn't go along with all the chaos that they have caused. They will keep saying it till they're blue in the face. I mean, it gets to the point this woman can't even talk half the time because she knows she's caught out there. But she just keeps on pushing that narrative. Nope, it ain't us, it's you. No, it ain't us, it's them. No, it ain't us, it's the next one. And it just won't stop. I'll show you another clip of what's going on in New York. Let's continue. This was put out an hour ago in New York.
Well, a manhunt is underway right now for a suspect accused of randomly stabbing at least 5 people in a matter of days.
All right, Fox 5's Ashley Rodriguez joins us live from 134th Avenue and Guy Brewer Boulevard in Queens, where 2 people were stabbed earlier today. And Ashley, please just gave us an update on their investigation.
Yeah, they just held a presser and they told us there's actually 5 stabbings in Queens, that they're all connecting to the same suspect, and they're looking into a 6th stabbing in Brooklyn, possibly by the same guy. Now, as you mentioned, I'm at 134th. This is where police have been camped out all day long, trying to get this suspect off the streets. All the stabbings happening in this general vicinity, putting residents on edge. Take a look. 3 NYPD officers wait for each bus that arrives at 134th and Guy Brewer Boulevard in the Springfield Gardens section of Queens. They get on and look at each passenger's face. They ask the driver if he's seen this man. He's the suspect police are tying to 4 stabbings over the span of 9 days.
I'm now praying that God find a way to find this guy. Because it's hard for us, especially women walking at nights.
Police believe the suspect's stabbing spree started the evening of January 8th. He was allegedly standing on 157th and 137th when he pulled out a blade and stabbed a 51-year-old man in the back. They said he reappeared on Tuesday, January 16th, choosing another victim at random. This time, a 34-year-old woman walking around midnight at 158th and 134th, stabbing her on the right side of her torso. Then Wednesday morning, a double stabbing around 7:30 at 134th and Guy Brewer Boulevard. Police say he stabbed a 74-year-old man and a 41-year-old man before taking off and disappearing again. Thankfully, all of his victims will survive.
But it's usually a good neighborhood.
Police camped out and closed an entire block while they tried to track the serial stabber down. With police tape all around, stores closed their cash registers and locked their doors. There'd be no business today.
It's very difficult around here, but it's very dangerous, especially for us walking at night.
Residents try to imagine what the suspect was thinking or who he was targeting. The stabbings happened early in the evening, late at night, and early in the morning. The victims are young and old, male and female, and the feeling is his rash of random violence is yet another manifestation of the mental health crisis.
Scared, totally scared, and I'm so couple of the policemen running here and there. So scared.
Okay. There you hear that, folks. This was put out an hour ago in New York. Okay. Now you heard what the reporter said, mentioning, mental health issues. People keep talking about the crime among many other problems that they're dealing with, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. But in the eyes of the people that are in charge, it's delusional what they're thinking. Because, like I said yesterday, there's a fine line between delusion and just not giving a damn. And that line right there is where these Democrat politicians walk. It's gotta be. It's gotta be. And the reason why I say that is because of this.
Good afternoon, New York. Our administration came into office with a clear mission to protect public safety, vitalize our economy, and make all 5 boroughs more livable for the 8.3 million people who call New York City their home. For the last 2 years, we have worked every day to make our vision a reality. And I'm proud that we are heading in the right direction. Jobs are up, crime is down, tourists are back, our streets are cleaner.
And I'll just leave it at that. This man went bold-faced yesterday, and I used this clip yesterday, but I'm using it again today. For him to sit there, stand there, forgive me, and say that jobs are up, crime is down, the streets are cleaner. You just heard on the news report the stores that said they're going to be closing early because of this freaking maniac that's out there stabbing people. So, less work, more crime. That's just one example of the thousands of examples of the shit these people are trying to feed society. In New York, in Chicago, in California, in Philadelphia, in Oregon, I'm in Colorado, I mean in Atlanta, Georgia. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. But at the same time, they try to go and blame it on Governor Abbott, who's trying to keep the border closed and try to take control of a major influx of migrants coming in. Okay? Of people like Ron DeSantis that's giving harsher penalties to criminals in Florida. You know? Mayors and governors and sheriffs and police chiefs in other red states that are trying to keep the place safe, so like that people can live happy and safe and go to work and not worry about maniacs running around stabbing people. All the while the governors and the mayors like Kathy Hochul and Governor Newsom and them are taking away people's rights to keep and bear arms. Now, I'm not saying anybody should go out there. I'm not saying armed militias or anything like that. But what I'm saying is the delusion, the mental gymnastic that these people must go through every day, trying to find ways to spin the bullshit straight from the White House all the way down, from Biden to his press secretary to all of them. Then you got the press secretary being questioned by reporters. She's stumbling and mumbling on her words and tripping on her words. She doesn't know what to say. Biden's over here calling Americans, you know, these MAGA extremists that don't agree with him, while his little, you know, his little puppets in all these blue cities and stuff are still trying to pull the strings on their constituents, while now the constituents are cutting the strings and saying, no, sorry, Puppet Master. Sorry, Geppetto. I'm not your Pinocchio anymore. But they just won't stop. They won't stop. Okay? Now, here's the thing. I put out all those clips yesterday, and I said that I could put out clips for days or hours, I believe I said, okay? This wasn't on the news yesterday, but they said that this guy has been stabbing people for what, about a week now? This hit the news an hour ago. After he already stabbed 5 people, they think maybe 6. Think about that. Imagine what more they're hiding. But yet, you know, Gotham's mayor is saying that jobs are up, crime is down, the streets are cleaner. Really? That's just great. But anyway, that's what I got for you. Please comment, like, share, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, pass it around. Again, I want to thank all my new subscribers, all my subscribers here on YouTube and on Rumble. If you want to help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and PayPal, and a link to the merch store. Check out the shirts. Okay? It describes this movement, and there's going to be a lot more coming. Okay? If the people that hate this country don't want to protect it, then we as American citizens, as the true patriots, okay, we got to keep exposing these people, and we got to keep helping each other. We've got to take care of each other. We got to take care of this country. That's why I'm always telling people to pray, to stay vigilant and keep praying. Okay, now I'm not saying go out there, okay, and cause violence, nothing like that. I never once advocate for that. What I do advocate for is that if you need to protect yourself, protect yourself. Everybody should. That is your God-given right. Not a freaking politician's right to give you. It is your God-given right. Okay? So remember, stay vigilant. Keep praying. Keep praying for each other. And I'll say it again. I'm not saying for anybody to go out there and hurt someone else. Not at all. But be aware of your surroundings. Okay? Walk together. Okay? If you can walk a niece or a nephew or a father, mother, anybody, walk down the street, you have to look out for each other. This is getting crazy. It is getting crazy out there. One of my brothers told me back home in New York about 4 years ago. He said, man, it's getting to be like the wild, wild west out here. And it just seems to keep getting worse and worse and worse. Hold these people's feet to the fire. Make them accountable for all these maniacs that they let out, that are out there. Vote them out. Vote in the right people. Take the streets and the cities back. Take back the country. Take back the economy. And don't let these snakes, okay, burrow any more in the cities. So remember, stay vigilant, keep praying, and keep praying for each other. Peace.